Returning Officer for Westmoreland Western hereby declare Nomination Center, the Anglican Church Hall in Grange Hill, open.
That the day of nomination is here. We've been waiting on it for a few years now. The government has been running from it, but they couldn't run anymore. Time catch up with them and time come. So here we are, and I'm just joining my two very able and brilliant councillor candidates for Trenchtown and Admiral Town, Comrade Sarah Marshall and Comrade Louise Newland, as they nominate today.
Strong show of support that we've seen from politics rise from all the way up.
Yes.
What is that telling you about how the farmers feel about
the whole Jamaica is treating this like a general election. It's like a kind of preliminary general. The excitement is at a different level to what local government elections normally encounter. And I think that's because people are dying to send a signal to this government that they want to get rid of them and bring in a government in which they can have trust and confidence. They're tired of a government with a leader who has broken its trust with the people through a series of actions over the last several years, and a government that hasn't shown the capacity to care for the interests of the people, especially the most vulnerable who need their help. So the PNP is offering, as it has always offered, the opportunity for governance which is governed by integrity, standing on good principles of governance, using the resources of the people for the people and for no one else, and ensuring that the institutions that are built fulfill their proper functions. Many of them started by the PNP to help those who need help. And we are offering ourselves again to the Jamaican people, bring Jamaica back on track. Our economic achievements are significant over the last decade, started by the PNP really after the JLP crashed the first IMF program. PNP picked up that heavy load and carried it forward, brought all the major economic metrics into proper alignment, and the JLP has been battering on the wicket that we created. And we intend to ensure that sound economic management continues, but our priorities are going to be the things that will transform Jamaica to make a country where our people, all of our people, can achieve their hopes and dreams. We want to make Jamaica nice for everyone.
You have said, and the PNP has said, that the election is a referendum on the JLP, but isn't it also a referendum on the PNP too?
Yep, it's a referendum on anybody who's contesting. And we believe that the people are going to send a strong signal as to who they want to see moving forward in government.
So you expect the people to vote yes for PNP and no JLP if this was a referendum question?
I don't know what is a referendum question. This is a local government election, and I expect that we will succeed in our goal of winning the majority of the councils.
What are the councils that you are targeting to take over?
Each and every one we have our eyes on. Obviously what we have already, we want to assure that we keep those, and there are others that we intend to win. Obviously he's feeling a sense of desperation because he knows it's true. It is a referendum and he doesn't want it to be, because he knows that the people are going to show him and show his government what they think of this corrupt and uncaring government. So he can say what he wants, he can describe it how he wants, he doesn't feel it's really big.
The latest clue report released this morning suggests that more Jamaicans believe that the country is heading in the wrong direction compared to the last polling conducted. What do you make of that finding?
I think the people's feelings have intensified as we have stepped up our game, and we're engaging the people all over Jamaica, and we are sending our message to them, and I believe it's resonating with them, and there's more to come. And I'm not surprised by what you just told.
What the PNP them there? Everybody, give me the fist, give me the fist, give me the fist. Make we tweet for that man. Make we tweet for the teeth in crime. Make we tweet for the false promise. Yo, Bunting, get your push broom. Peter Phillips, get a broom. Yo, Julia, get a broom.
TV, so that they must go to Marty. Our legacy is in good hands. Comrades, Whiskey Dog, Prince Dog, Vietnam, we love you, we love you, we love you.
I want you to pick up the two candidates from Tivoli and Denham Town.
Comrades of Southwest, let me hear the British Town Division. Let me hear North Town Division. Let me hear the Finland Division. And so, what this tells me is that we are even better than the CBN. We are looking deeper.
You're David up against Goliath?
Yeah, man.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. But
Of course.
But you're not afraid of Goliath?
No, I'm not afraid.
Alright.
But little bit with Salawa.
Right. And if you lose, will you?
Yeah, mix up.
No, it will just encourage me. As I said before, it is my first time in. So if I lose, it's just a trial.
Right. And you would have seen your father trying from 1989. What would you say about him and his party, you know, trying for so long? And still, with 91, you're getting more.
We didn't give up. We didn't give up. We don't give up.
The greatest good about it, he didn't give up. He kept fighting and kept showing the people that he's
We are
here and we're here to help them. Eventually, one day, we will get the seat.
Okay.
What has the experience like been for you working with your father, you know, campaigning and going to places, the whole works?
She had come from a baby. When she was a baby.
That new to me, but the newness is only being inside. I was always on the outside, but being on the inside now, it has shown me that I'm a public figure, so I have to be there for the people and show them that I care about them and not just myself.
And you know that as a public figure now, anything you do is going to be scrutinized.
Okay.
So you're prepared for all of the attention.
I am prepared for all of that. I'm being prepared.
To turn out in your numbers on election day. And show them the power and the might of the people of West Kingston. Today is wonderful, but what is more important is the 26th on election day and get every single vote in the ballot. When we finish, I want everybody come out the street and go home. Go back to work. Pick up your pick to them at school. This election is an election to show that West Kingston is the dominant constituency in Jamaica.
Personally speaking, the people have been saying to me that they have been seeing a lot of work going on in the constituency, a lot of infrastructural improvement, social improvement. The leadership of Miss Hamilton and myself and our caretaker in Almontown, we have connected with the people, and so it's not that my personal view is that they are not saying to me that they need anything essentially different. What they are saying, they have seen some good signs and they want us to build on it and continue to build and improve the community, which we will do.
Long-standing councillor Rosie Hamilton, you're nominated this morning. Sure. Okay. And remember the one margin, one vote last time. But
well, the media keep saying about one vote. And I've never heard they say what causes the margin to be so low. So I am using this opportunity to speak to the Commissioner of Police to put excessive police in the Raytown division. On July November 2016, we had a murder. The local election, we had a murder just around the corner from here. So one of the runners was killed, and because of that, the police came in and they barred the area. So there was no movement. Yeah. So that was what causes that election. Now, in the 2020 general election, we had a similar situation like that. For 334, gunmen came in again and they shoot up the place and 3 persons were shot. So it's a trend that when the PMP see they are losing, they come into the stronghold and they create mayhem. So we don't want to hear about any one vote again. So we are using this opportunity to ask the Commissioner of Police to secure the people of the Raytown Division from evil that consistently reign every election in this division.
What exactly you want the Commissioner to do on election?
To send in police protection. We pay taxes. So the police is entitled to protect the people. So that's what we're asking for.
Okay. All right. And you think you will do better if it's incident free this time around? You think you will do better?
We don't have any doubt about better. We are winning the Raytown Division. The Raytown Division is the people's decision. It's not JLP or PMP or no, it's everybody's decision. And you will understand, I am the councillor for the Raytown Division from 2003 and I serve everybody. There is no margin where I am concerned. So I am confident that the people will pay me back what I deserve.
The next step for all 3? I understand that the Seaview division in particular was a bit close in the last election. Help us out.
No, well, COVID is over. We have a new beginning and we expect to win all 3 divisions in Western St. Andrew.
Comfortably?
Comfortably.
Let's hear from the candidates. Attorney at Law, Michelle
Yes,
Thomas.
I am excited. I do believe that we will take home the Park division again. The people are ready. We're all vibes up to go, and we're not just ready to take it, but to actually do some work and to restore hope for the people.
Sanderson, I understand you are running for the Seaview division. Help us out in terms of what's happening in your division.
Well, we've been out in the field and campaigning and things. I'm comfortable.
Mr. Clark, what's happening on the ground in your division?
Well, my division is Waters division. And one of those divisions who has a lot of development in train and coming, and we are good.
So far, all reports are that nomination day has gone smoothly around the island. There have been no reports of disruptions, political violence, or any form of mishap. Certainly here in West Central St. Andrew, the mood is very good. I actually am very surprised by it because I have not been working the ground here in any significant way. I've left that up to my mayor and my 2 councillors to do that because, after all, it is a local government election and the people who are facing the electorate should really go out and do the work. I am just there for emotional support. Nonetheless, I have been moving around the island doing the government's work. And I'm sure every Jamaican would see that whether it is an election or not, I continue to break ground, hand over units, do amazing things with the government to bring prosperity to the Jamaican people. Day by day, Jamaica is improving. Now, there are those who would want to turn a local government election into a general election. It shows a kind of power hungriness. But it is our democracy, and Jamaica's democracy is indeed beautiful. I love it. I love to be out and about and meeting the people, and the truth is that a campaign gives me that excuse. It is paradoxical that the complaint is that we are doing too much around the elections. We are opening, breaking ground and opening highways and turning on water and giving out houses during the election, as if governments should not work to show that they are deserving of the support of the people. So it is really for the first time that a government has so many things to show to go to the people with. And if we're going to be criticized for that, then it will be a puzzle to me. So that in itself shows a change in our politics.
The opposition leader said that this election is going to be a referendum on your leadership. What do you make of this pronouncement?
Every day my leadership goes through a referendum. Every day. This is no different. This is one in a series of events that every day speak in a critical way to my leadership and governance. And as I said before, we're not perfect. But again, when you compare us with what has gone before, you would see that we have done far better, right? One person said it very eloquently, he said, compare us to what has gone before. Don't compare us to what God has done. In other words, the bar of comparison for us, the Jamaica Labour Party, and certainly for me, has been set very high. That critical bar is not set for the PNP. The people who criticize us today are silent when the PNP was in power. And even when the PNP in opposition, when they do things that are deserving of criticism, they are silent. So, in my opinion, they have no credibility. If you compare us as the Jamaica Labour Party to what governments before has done, there is no question, none whatsoever, incontrovertible, that we have done better.
The Blue Dot polls, the latest Blue Dot polls, says significantly more Jamaicans believe that the country is headed in the wrong direction. What's your reaction?
And that is the paradox. And as I had explained before, when people start to see the country moving in the right direction and their personal situation isn't changing as rapidly, they will feel a sense of despair.
On the ombudsman issue, there's a view this week that the government's move to push it through Parliament was arrogant and autocratic. What do you respond?
That is the common position that the opposition goes to try to describe you. It is a strategy of the opposition to create a caricature of me being authoritarian or dictatorial. But it can't stick because Jamaica is the most democratic it has ever been. On the ombudsman issue, there were discussions between the government, the opposition, and the ECJ. Discussions which were discussed and read out in Parliament in the recent debate. And the opposition agreed. The opposition changed its mind. Where is the civil society that would point out that the opposition led the government to believe that everything was fine, they had agreed, and then all of a sudden they changed their mind, and then they are allowed to say it's autocratic and dictatorial? Let me ask you a question. How would government operate if government at every single juncture, when the opposition is very opportunistic and strategic in trying to delay progress, if we allow them, what would happen to the progress of the country? So we've gone through a process. It was discussed and debated in Parliament. There was an agreement. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they have changed their mind. And it worries me that they would have changed their mind just before an election. So we would be going into an election without any process of an ombudsman. And I think the country should look into that and look behind the motive for the opposition's delay tactic.
Was the delay in calling the election due to panic within the JLP read the poll numbers?
I'm happy you asked the question. And let me tell you why I'm so happy you asked the question. There is this issue about fixed election dates. The Jamaica Labour Party was a proponent of fixed election dates. And we looked very closely at what the English did, the British did in their parliament in setting fixed election dates. The idea was it added greater certainty and would be less disruptive to the business cycle. And we thought that that was good, and it was a part of our 2016 platform. When we went into office, we put it for further research to get the legal advice to go forward. And certain concerns were raised as to whether or not fixed election dates would fit within our constitutional arrangement. Now, bear in mind, in the United Kingdom, they don't have a written constitution, so they can create conventions, but they have strong conventions as well. You would note that in the last few years, because of several events that have occurred, they have had to call early elections. And it so turned out that the succeeding government changed the law, reverted to what existed before. And it says to us that we have to look at it very carefully. Not everything that is promoted as having benefits can actually be done right away. It's aspirational, but we have to make sure that it fits within our constitutional regime, which clearly has a fixed election date, which is, you have a 5-year term, and it is specified how long you can go beyond that if there are some supervening or epiphenomenal event. So there are provisions for that, and I would say that the system as it is does work. It can use some refinement, but I would want to be sure that if we make any changes using this issue of the fixed election date, that it fits within our constitution. So the Electoral Commission of Jamaica is also looking at that consideration. The advice that we have gotten from the Attorney General so far is that there may be some issues there. So in the 2020 elections, when I called that election, I had said that this fixed election date is not in our manifesto for 2020. So there are some persons who are saying, well, we made a promise. Yes, we did, but we revised that in our 2020 manifesto. So if you look in our 2020 manifesto, it is not there because we need to have further review of it to make sure that it aligns with our constitutional
So just to be clear, Prime Minister, you're just reviewing, but you're not withdrawing that.
No, I think as it stands now, it is something that we could not put in our manifesto to proceed with, because the advice that we have gotten is that it could result in it does not align with our constitutional arrangements. So for that to happen, we would have to make some adjustments, and we are in this process of constitutional reform. I don't want to speak on that, and I don't want to crowd that with any other issue. Now, why did we not call the elections in? It would have been due. Remind me, you would know that date quite well. The intention was, from my point, in 2020 when we called the general election, I wanted to call the local government election at the same time. In fact, we made arrangements for it. We made some, you will recall that we made amendments to the law to do it. So we never feared any election. We wanted to do it. There was a sense, both in the opposition and in our councillors, that this would be new, first time it would be done, and it is going to be done during a pandemic. It could create outcomes that nobody would be able to predict. And so the view was, don't call both of them together since it is novel and you're going to do it during the pandemic. On reflection, maybe we should have done it then. But coming out of the pandemic, you would recall that, well, coming out of 2020 election, you would recall that new strains of the virus came on, that we had to go into severe lockdowns, that there was an economic fallout, certainly I don't think that the Jamaican people would be in the mood to contend with another election. And that is just the reality.
What will it take to win the Malines division? Import more. That's
a question for the council.
Well, we need to ask
Well, I tell you something. We have never had a councillor before, but this trip, we are going to take the Malines division. We need it. We are not doing anything there. If you go there and you look at the situation there, this is just a member of parliament alone that we're doing things, and I am prepared to change that.